So right now we're in Old Town Newhall, and today we are going to talk redevelopment, past, present, and future. And joining us today is Armine Shaparian, Redevelopment Manager for the City of Santa Clarita. Armine, there's a lot of history here in Old Town Newhall.
Thank you, Evan. There is actually. Named after Henry Mayo Newhall, this community was home to some of the original settlers in California looking for gold and also oil. A lot of people don't realize that this is also home to a lot of entertainment history, old Hollywood. This was home to silent movies. We had many famous stars that lived in this community, including our very own William S. Hart. And I'm sure today we'll have an opportunity to also tour near his park. Included with that was really the old culture of Western California. And we are fortunate to have taken some of those elements and incorporated them in some of our improvements that we're going to be able to see today.
So, Armine, the term redevelopment gets thrown around a lot. You're an expert on this, so tell us exactly what redevelopment is.
Certainly, Evan. Actually, there is a formal definition of redevelopment, which is taking an area that has blighting conditions, both physical and economic, and providing improvements. But I'd like to think of redevelopment as really taking a community that could lose a lot of love and attention, putting in all the appropriate investments, and seeing that area thrive, as is the case with Old Town Newhall. For example, our improvements here started by looking for opportunities where we can invest in capital improvement projects, property acquisitions, from building a new park, Creekview Park, to looking for opportunities to maximize underutilized parcels, as is the example with the Veterans Historical Plaza.
Okay, and that's, we were talking earlier, and that is a sort of a classic example of redevelopment and how that works, because before we built that park, with the help of a lot of other community members, of course, it was really just sort of a blighted, non-used parcel.
Definitely, and that is one of the definitions of redevelopment. It's taking properties that have been deteriorated, dilapidated, that are suffering by age, and providing a lot of improvements to those properties. And it's also looking at the area as a whole. It's looking at the area from a business perspective. Are there vacancy rates? Are there a lack of facilities? And working with the local partners. And it's really about providing the public-private partnerships necessary to make the improvements happen.
Okay, and so right now we are standing at the Janhite Metrolink station, which is really appropriate because the investment, we've seen a lot of changes in Old Town Newhall the last few years, but certainly the investment in Newhall happened long ago.
Yes, and this Metrolink station was one of the first improvements that we made. Providing public transportation is a key component. It provides people with an opportunity to come to a pedestrian-friendly downtown by not necessarily having to drive. That has been one of the key focal points for our downtown, is we also have public transportation available for all users.
And, when we talk about this, we're also talking about curbs and gutters and sidewalks, and people might not think about that too much, but they were a big addition to the community, as well as Creekview Park, which is one of the first parks we built down here.
Yes, public infrastructure improvements are important. As you may know, with every community, as time passes, curbs, gutters, sidewalks, those are all elements that do decline over time. And putting in the investment to make those improvements is critical, and we have done that as part of our redevelopment efforts, along with looking at the neighboring community, in this case East Newhall, and working with our community preservation team, working with the neighbors, the property owners, and approaching it as a team.
So as we take a closer look at redevelopment, we're going to focus on specific projects, and right now we are going to take a closer look at the Old Town Newhall Community Center. Hi, I'm Evan Thomason for This Week in Santa Clarita. Right now I am with Julie Calderon, who is the Community Center Supervisor for the City of Santa Clarita. Julie, this month we are coming up on a very significant milestone. This is the 5th year anniversary of the new Community Center being built. Can you talk about what this larger facility has allowed the city to do in terms of services for local residents?
Absolutely. We've been able to expand our programs. This facility is much larger in comparison to the 7,000 square foot facility that we came from. And it has allowed us to serve over 14,000 members in the past 5 years. So you can imagine the amount of classes and programs we've been able to expand.
Wow, and I know that there was a lot of good work being done over at the other community center, and right now we're going to walk in and take a look at the new community center and some of the features that are able to provide great services. I feel like we have only just scratched the surface of what the community center does. Can you talk about some of the other events and programs that you guys offer?
Well, we are in the Ed Red Teen Room, where a lot more takes place on a daily basis, aside from it being a great place for the kids to hang out. And, they do a lot of community service activities, workshops, the YES program, the Youth Employment Service program. They get mentorship as well as tutoring here. So aside from this room and all the other events, you're right, you've only touched on the surface of what goes on at the community center. Events such as, the Halloween Fiesta, which the teens go through lengths to put a wonderful event together, a haunted house, and other events such as the community Thanksgiving dinner that we do every year, thanks in partnership with Parkway Motor Cars, for one. A lot more that goes on aside from those events.
Julie, I think one thing that strikes out right away about the community center is very dynamic in terms of being responsive to the community's needs around it. And one of the things that you guys have been doing for a few years, anyways, is the Community Health Expo.
That's correct. We do an annual health and safety fair for children and their families, obviously, and we do that in conjunction with other partners. We bring different resources to the community, and that's our mission. It is to serve, support, and respond to the needs of the community. So the different events and the different needs from the community dictate what we do here at the community center.
So Armene, in 2005, the City Council adopted the Downtown Newhall Specific Plan, and we are standing on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, which is a direct result of that plan. Can you talk about the efforts that led up to the plan being adopted and what's happened since?
Certainly. Actually, the Downtown Newhall Specific Plan was a community effort. It was an opportunity for individuals in our community to come together and really help build the roadmap that we needed as the vision for downtown. And it was a great process, several community meetings, lots and lots of discussion, involvement by the former Newhall Redevelopment Committee, by the Old Town Newhall Association, and ultimately the result was a document that provides a very detailed vision for our downtown. And as we started the process of implementation, what you see today is the result of some of those improvements. For example, I'll start with the streetscape. We have completed 2 phases of streetscape improvements in downtown. What you'll notice, earlier I talked about the Western history and culture of the area. So our streetscape is actually very interpretive. You'll notice the hitching posts, you'll notice the very natural, rugged, organic style of streetscape. You'll notice the plants that are drought tolerant. The street is lined with beautiful trees, benches, newspaper racks. It definitely has provided quite an improvement. I'm going to take a few steps back and also talk about some of the road improvements we've made. Previously, Main Street was a very busy thoroughfare. We had cars going over 40 miles an hour. That really didn't provide the environment for a downtown. With road realignment, street improvements, significant improvements to our utility system, what you now see is a downtown corridor where individuals are able to arrive here, park, and walk in a very short distance and reach their desired location, basically.
So when we think about redevelopment, a lot of what we think about is visual, the streetscape being a very good example of that, but a lot of it could be improvements that people don't notice so much, like infrastructure improvements, storm drains.
Definitely, and those are actually probably sometimes more significant, because in order to have an improved public infrastructure, you have to make sure the foundation of that infrastructure is the best and the best quality. As part of the process of providing our improvements, we have built new storm drain system, underground utility lines, and this will last us for a very long time.
So we are in Old Town Newhall at the streetscape on Main Street, and right now we're going to go back in time and take a closer look at this project.
Hi, I'm Christina McGoldrick with This Week in Santa Clarita. Right now we're here at the grand opening and ribbon cutting for the Old Town Newhall Streetscape project. Let's talk to some of the people and organizations that made this possible. Members of the City Council, city officials, and representatives from the Old Town Newhall Association expressed their excitement and appreciation for the new streetscape project. We caught up with Robert Newman, Director of Public Works for the city, and asked him how the revitalization efforts would help to enhance Old Town Newhall.
Oh, it's a great opening, and hopefully everybody's enjoying themselves looking at what we've built here. It's been a great project. We've had a lot of great partners in the OTNA Association. We had Spirit Construction. Edison was a real help. It's been a great project that we've delivered here. It's been great to work with the businesses along here, and I think everybody's well received.
I know we did some streetscaping. There's some new plants around here. What were some of the aspects of this new project that are in place currently?
You know, we've got the Western Walk of Stars. We've incorporated that back into pavers for the sidewalk. We put some real boardwalk back in, so hopefully pull back in that Old West theme. A lot of landscape material and hopefully more parking for the businesses.
What do you think this new streetscape project is going to do for Old Town Newhall?
but hopefully attract more people to come down and see what we've done down here, come down and patronize the businesses.